My name is Shawn Storer. My title is Chief of People and Culture, and I do get to work with a couple groups, the Dickey's Capital Group, Dickey's Barbecue Restaurants Incorporated, and also Dickey's Barbecue Pit, which are probably the restaurants that you're familiar with. How many of you have ever been in a Dickey's Barbecue Pit? Many of you, good. I talked to Tim earlier today in the line, and he said, please don't take away kids eat free on Sundays. And I said, well, I don't really have direct influence over that, but if it stays, will you think that I did that? And he's like, yes, okay, deal. It's a deal. So, Chief Learning Officer Conference, when you come in and you talk to a group of your peers, we're all doing the same thing. I'm going to talk to you about some stuff that we did at Dickey's Barbecue. This is not necessarily the playbook, the rule book. This is what we did. And these are some cool ideas that we tried, and they're cool ideas that worked, and we're going to talk about some of those things that we did. But the idea is that, as long as you're trying to make it better, you're doing the right thing. And as long as you can point to some results like Shannon did, you're doing the right thing. So John Wooden, and we've all heard this and you've probably used this before, when you're through learning, you're through. I couldn't have said it better myself, right? It's an amazing thought. And I think Albert Einstein said, when you stop learning, you start dying. So same kind of thing. We take this to heart at Dickey's Barbecue and all of our programs and everything we do. And this was kind of one of the launching off points, this thought. About 3 years ago, and I'll take you back about 3 years, we were approaching our 75th anniversary. It's a family-owned and operated company, started in 1941, and it's from Dallas, Texas. It's third-generation ownership right now, and so we're in our 75th anniversary as we speak. About 3 years ago, we said, okay, look, we're coming up to the 75th anniversary. It's time to do something for the next 25 years. It's time to go create that new legacy that's going to last the next 25 years, and it'll be for the next generation of the Dickey family. And so we came up with this concept. We call it G4. Now you're on the inside of the velvet rope. That's super industry terminology there. It's just the fourth generation service style. And what we came up with was this really industrial, rustic, cool look for our brand to go forward. Many of you have probably been in Dickey's and you've seen like the blue and white picnic tablecloths, and it's very family oriented. There's the ice cream machine and kids eat free on Sundays, and it's a family kind of place. Well, that family environment doesn't change, but we take it into the future where you can put this concept in any city in America, New York, San Francisco, LA, Chicago. If I slighted your city, I'm sorry, but it could go there too, and it could stand up with any concept. And you look at some of the pictures on the screen, it's the chalkboard art, it's the rustic kind of metal elements. One of the things we do is we pit smoke on site every night in every single one of our stores. So that's a 12-hour brisket that you're eating, that they do in that store overnight. And so we put that element in the front. It's an open kitchen concept, so you can see the pit, you can see the prep tables. It's a really cool thing to see, and we wanted to put that up the front. Well, as we were developing this, we said, okay, wait a minute. We can't just have new sticks and bricks. We've also got to work on our people plan, our vibe. We call it our vibe, what the guest sees, what the guest smells, and what the guest hears. And so with this, they looked at me and said, hey, you're doing all the leadership programs. I got to create the Dickey's Management Institute High Potential Program, 40-week program for high pos. I get to create a lot of the supervisor training we have and a lot of manager level training. And they said, Shawn, why don't you now do culture stuff too? I'm like, cool, that sounds great. So the first thought that we came up with is I got to form kind of I called it the Culture Club. And nobody else thought that was funny internally, but I thought it was. And so we came up with our set of core values. And how many of you have core values in your company? Okay, plenty of hands. How many of you deeply, fervently believe in the core values of your company? I see a couple hands shoot way up, and I love that. How many of you think your core values are culture versus strategy? I heard some groans. Good. I love that. So culture, of course, that's what we're doing now. That's who we really are. The strategy is what we want to do. And so we picked core values, both for our stores and for our home office, that were not what we want to be, but what we truly are right now. Let's put that out there. Let's not say, hey, this is what we want to try and be in the future. Of course, we have a strategy for the future, but this is who we are. And if you're going to come work here, you have to know who we are fundamentally. For our stores, we came up with GREAT. Very easy to remember. I didn't create the word great. You've probably used it before too, but it's guest first, results oriented, enthusiastic, accountable, and team spirited. And in one of those culture club meetings, our CEO, third generation owner, we were arguing about semantics around the table, and it was a small point, and it doesn't matter, and I don't even know what the point was. And he said, stop. He said, it's transparent or it's gone. because we were trying to take the leap from G3 to G4, and it was my mantra then for the rest of this time to develop this. It's transparent or it's gone. If it's not easy to remember, if it's not easy to repeat, if you can't train it, if it's not repeatable, then get rid of it. It doesn't have a place here. So we created these core values and then energy, speed, barbecue, ESB. And of course, I'm walking around the office because I'm the cheesy guy in the office like, hey, do you have ESB? Are you thinking what I'm thinking? They're like, Shawn, that's ESP. I'm like, no, but now you remember it, right? And as soon as people start joking in the office about how stupid Shawn is and oh, now you remember it though, don't you? And now we're talking about it. So we created the core values for our stores, but then we went beyond that. And in our office, we're a group of overperformers that do more than a normal person can do. And to work there, you really have to be an overperformer, not a high performer, but an overperformer. And so we said, what is it that we do here that we have to tell candidates that we do? And so we came up with our 12 home office core values. And I'll run through them really quickly so you can see them. But then I got really clever with it because you've all seen cuts of meat before. And I thought, well, what if we put all these on the cuts of meat and we say, can you make the cut? Come on, right? And yeah, exactly. But as soon as somebody went, oh my gosh, Shawn, come on. There it is. You're going to see this all over our home office. You're going to see the one in our stores, all over our stores. It's now our entire system of over 560 restaurants. It's something that they can walk into and expect before they even start working there. So our 12 home office core values are smart, direct, results-oriented, loyal, positive, organized, self-accountable, tough, humble, flexible, and you must have edge and a sense of urgency. If I tell a candidate that, and in fact, that has now gone into everything that we do about, and I'll talk in a slide in a second about everything that's infiltrated. But I love this quote from John Maxwell because this is kind of my point that I was making before. He said, your core values are the deeply held beliefs that authentically describe your soul. That's deep. It's not that you think about a lot or that you really believe in. It's authentically describe your soul. These 12 home office core values authentically describe the soul of what it takes to be at Dickey's Barbecue. So we have kind of 3 learning audiences. Of course, you have to figure out, what do we have now? We have these core values. Now we got to get them to the right audiences. And of course, you've seen people trying to draw a line across how we're going to do this and who's going to get that and what's the method. And it was really fun to sit down and just figure out, how do we get all this information out to the people who need it? And so we've got, of course, our franchise owner-operators. That's number 1, most important. We have our own company-owned stores that we own and operate ourselves. And we also have our corporate office and our field employees. So we have franchise directors out managing districts, franchise owner-operators. We've got to get the information out to them. And of course, we do this on a daily basis with so many things, but the core values were so crucial because think about how many people were already in the system, and we had to go reteach them these concepts. You've all been some kind of implementation where there's plenty of people out there who already have some of the information. And now here's the new concept, here's the new rollout, so here's how we did it in 1,001 ways. And our method really, there was some method to the madness, but it was, let's get it to everybody in every single way we possibly can. Make it inevitable to learn. There's a great book called Influencer, and they say if you're going to make somebody learn something, you make it inevitable for them to learn it, or you make it inevitable for them to choose that behavior. So in our owner-operator selection, we use this. Are they great? Are they going to be guest first? Are they a team-spirited person? When we have a 4-week-long training program in Dallas for all of our new owner-operators and our corporate employees, franchise directors, vice presidents of operations, et cetera. It's called Barbecue University. And it's 4 weeks of everything you need to know about owning and operating your own Dickey's restaurant in Dallas. And during that time, we start with great. And we talk about great. And we actually have awards at the end. We have a graduation ceremony coming up this Friday to celebrate all of our new family members. And we hand out awards, a guest first award, a results-oriented award, enthusiastic, accountable, team-spirited. Because if we're not rewarding on the behavior, then we're just talking about it at the beginning. In our core operations forums, that immediately became, and of course it took some influence and took some doing, but that immediately became part of the core ops forums. If it's not on the thing that people are looking at every day, then they're not going to talk about it and think about it. We have community marketing calendars. We try and do a lot of the work for our owner-operators and say, hey, here's some great ideas for today is it Tuesday? Right? Tuesday, thank you. Tuesday. So go out to a police or a fire station today and take an XL family pack. You don't have to think about it. It's done. Go out and do it. Calendar tomorrow for Wednesday. Take one to the local library, whatever the case may be. So in that, we talk about how you can be great in your community, how you can be results-oriented, drive your sales, but still be enthusiastic about being a community member. We have pocket cards that we give to all of our store employees that has great on the front, the same diagram we looked at a minute ago. And our employee hiring process, both in the stores and in the home office. On our website, before you ever even go there, you start to understand, and I mean, look, this is a CLO symposium. We're talking about learning. People can start learning about you before you ever tell them what you want them to hear, right? So on the website, if you see that I have to be smart and I have to be accountable and, oh, well, I can't show up to work on time, I'm not results-oriented, I shouldn't go to work there. You can see that before we even tell you what it takes. So through our hiring, both stores and home office, we talk about and we use these core values. Through our application process, interview questions. I get to talk to our owner-operators when they come through Dallas for Barbecue University, and we talk about, a lot of them have never owned a business before, and many of them have certainly never hired somebody before. So here's 5 questions you can ask. Tell me about a time where you were, insert name of core value here, guess first. When you worked at other brand, tell me about a time where you had to be team-spirited. They have these easy questions that they can now ask and start to have a conversation with the person. We use the predictive index a lot, and we look at the predictive index, and everybody uses something, right? There's so many great ones out there. You can see if they're going to be A over C, proactive, results-oriented, or not. You can look at, through the offer process, even in our email signatures. Mine says, have a GREAT, capital letters, points in the middle, great day, and of course it spells it out. Yes, first, results-oriented, enthusiastic, accountable, team-spirited. Through our orientation onboarding processes, we have daily commitments. You know, all the words that we choose intentionally. We don't say, I hope to get this done today, or I'd like to get that done today. It's, I'm committing to this today. We have daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, annual commitments for every role in the company. We have daily charge calls. We have an award-winning shift meeting training video that comes out 7 days a week, twice a day from our training team that's shot out to all the owner-operators in the system, and the first thing they talk about is how are you going to be great today? Our morning cue, daily newsletter, our state of the brand once a month, our host, home office staff training. The list goes on and on. Our team programs, talent enrichment, advancement, management. That's where our Dickey's Management Institute is. That's where our high potential programs are. All those things come back and center around that set of core values that we commonly share. Now, how many of you think in your home office or your team, everybody knows what your core values are? That raised your hands before. Less hands. How many people do you think out of those smaller group of hands, how many people do you think could tell you without looking at a card? 1, 2, 3, a few hands. So if you make it simple, if you make it easy, if you make it memorable, if you make it like Roland said, our CEO, it's transparent or if it's gone, or it's transparent or it's gone. If it's not transparent, it's not easy to remember, it's too difficult. So the whole idea is make it easy, make it transparent. When I was trying to put this together, I found this great picture. I don't know if you've seen this. This is the smartest kid in the world. Do you remember these tests where you had to draw the line from answer A to column B? What's their answer? This is brilliant. Oh my God, I want to hire that kid on the team, like right now. Of course, you can't get away with doing that, but I'm going to quote Tom Ford, which sounds like a weird thing to do, but I wear bow ties every day, so I think I can get away with quoting Tom Ford. And he said, oddly, he said, there are no right or wrong answers. There is only intuition. And so these are all things that we did. We wanted to roll out the core values. We wanted to make sure our whole team knew about what was going on. And we took every step we could possibly think of, working with every member of every team, every department head, everywhere that there was some message being given. And that was our intuition. That's what we went with. And you know what? They all ended up lining up.